All right, welcome everyone. This is the live Q&A with me, Nick Venuti, the Healthy Yinzer. Um, we're just gonna kind of get right into it. So as you can see, we got the cat looking at you, getting ready to learn some stuff about health and wellness. And one of the main things I want to talk about today is just, learning up and picking up any ideas, any tools, anything that you could use to transform your health, your body, and your mindset. So let's get into it. So, one of the main things, hi, my name is Nick Venuti, and I just want to get right into it. So, are you stuck in a weight loss rut? Are you stuck in a battle with self esteem? Or are you just tired of frustrating yo yo diets? And one of the main things that I always see as a trainer is these three concepts. And one of the main things that you could do today is break it down. Simple, small, effective tools that are going to help you on your weight loss journey, whether it's you're trying to eat better, you're trying to improve in whatever aspect of life. We're going to try to cover a little bit of those topics today. So, again, my name is Nick Venuti. I'm the Healthy Yinzer, and today we're going to transform your health, your body, and your mindset. So let's get started. So you see, I got these little slides up here. In today's topic, we are going to go discuss four main subjects. So again, submit your questions in the comments. I'll be looking. I'm always looking for any comments that you want to do. But these are the four main topics that I'm going to talk about today. The main one, stuck trying to lose weight. That's one of the main goals I always see. It's why people always reach out to me. I want to lose these last 15 pounds. I just don't know how to do it. And then I always get the other aspect of, I got low self-esteem. I can't make I can't make it. I just don't know what's going on. It's with my health, whether it's um your back, whatever it is, any type of problems, you have low self-esteem. So we're just going to kind of talk about some of these things, and maybe your mood is swinging more than your actual kettlebells. So that's always a thing too. And we're going to talk about the pitfalls of yo-yo dieting. So when we think about the very first aspect of health, you are what you eat, right? The foods you choose, they make a difference. And so if you're eating processed foods all day long, if you're drinking pop, you're drinking teas all day, you're just not eating the right stuff. Well, guess what? You are what you eat. You're gonna go ahead, you're gonna have high blood pressure, you're gonna have health problems, and maybe you're gonna gain weight. And so if you don't realize that you are what you eat, it's kind of hard to necessarily make that journey of whether or not you are trying to lose weight, whether or not you are trying to just live that healthier life. And so that's what it brings us to this next slide. So, one of the things that I really want to talk about is sustainable weight loss strategies. Now, the main thing when you get into an exercise program, a lot of times what people want to do is they want the quick fix, right? They want to be able to say, Nick, I want to do this. I want to lose 15 pounds in 1 week. It's just not going to happen. I mean, you could do that, but again, it's going to be that J-shaped curve where it's going to go all the way down. You're going to lose that weight and it's going to go right back up. And that's never a good recipe for success. And the reason being is it's not sustainable. And so when we think about sustainable weight loss strategies, we got to think about where to start. So if you don't know how many macros or how many calories you're supposed to be eating in a day, it's hard to make any type of adjustments to your calorie intake because you don't know where's your baseline. So I always say the very first thing that you have to do is you have to figure out how many calories you need in a day. And once you find out how many calories you need in a day, we could start to make a deficit. And the main goal of weight loss, or if you want to lose weight, you have to be in some sort of calorie deficit, more energy out than energy in. It's simple biomechanics. It's simple idea and it stays true the whole time. And so you need to make it where it is personalized for you. I mean, anybody could go and open up a magazine for health and fitness magazine and find out that, oh, wow, we're doing 4 sets of 12 squats, push ups, shoulder presses. Oh, okay, Romanian deadlift. Okay, cool. And you're going to go to the gym, you're going to do those, and you're going to find out that, yes, it works. If you feel great, but you don't have a reason of why you're using those exercises. What is the sense of doing an RDL if you're never really picking anything up in the first place? What's the sense of doing, some crazy exercise that you see in a magazine if you're not necessarily doing those movements in an everyday basis? So, one of the ways that you have to necessarily start to lose your weight or improve your health is you have to figure out what are you doing in life that you need to improve in. And this could be very simple, just getting up and walking 10, 15 minutes a day is going to stimulate your metabolism, is going to stimulate your muscles, going to stimulate everything for your body just to start working again and saying, oh, okay, we're doing something. And so if it's not personalized for you, you can't expect to see the results that you're trying to attain because you're just picking up somebody else's program. They don't have your basically your body. They don't have your functionality, whether it be flexibility, mobility, your strength, your endurance. And another thing is a lot of times people don't realize that when you go into a exercise program like this or any type of new exercise program, it takes dedication, it takes time. And if it's not personalized for you, you're not going to have the reason to want to keep going and even doing it. So that's why you have to set realistic goals. And so a lot of times you might find out that you're doing a exercise program with an individual or a couple individuals at your work, and somebody's losing a whole bunch of weight at first, and you're kind of just staying stagnant, losing 1 pound, 2 pounds. But then you don't realize that this person doesn't have a family, an obligation, other stressors to worry about, whereas you might have a family, you might have 3 or 4 kids you have to cook dinner for, you have a husband that you need to attend to. So everybody's goals are going to be the same, but how you get there is going to be different because you need help, you need social support, you need all of those different things, but you also need to set realistic goals. And if you set realistic goals, you can actually start breaking them down one step at a time and then be able to accomplish, whatever it is that you set out to get. And that could be very simple. Just losing, maybe, you want to start out, I want to lose 2 pounds per week. Okay, well, that's a good start. Maybe you want to lose 15 pounds in the next 3 months. And now these are goals that you can actually attain to. But the one of the main things that I always see is that a lot of people try to bite off more than they can chew. So when you try to get into developing a healthier lifestyle, a lot of the times we want to just dive headfirst, go right in and just say, hey, this is my life now. You start eating better. You want to start watching what you eat. You want to start exercising more. You're starting to do all this cardio. And then by the time you find out it's 2, 3 weeks in and you're burned the hell out. And in the process of that, you get discouraged. You don't see any results. And then you just kind of go back into your old behaviors. And this is something that I see all the time. And the reason is because you don't have an actual plan. You don't have a reason. You don't have a why. And once you do, the plan starts to come together and you just bite off one bite at a time. And I always like to use the onion layer, is that when you peel off one layer of the onion, you complete that, chop it up, dice it up, do whatever you're doing, pull off the other layer. Because then once you go from there, you're starting to tackle each goal. You're eating better. Okay, let me focus on that for a week. Okay, we're gonna start exercising. Let me focus on that for a week. I need more water in my body. Start to focus on that for a week. And then as you start to build up over time, these are now habits rather than things that you need to do. And so from there, you're starting to build the behaviors and the lifestyle change that you really want. And that's why I always say, start small, start simple, and just proceed from there, because that's going to be the main your main line for success. And so let's continue on. And so we'll see, are you struggling with low self-esteem? So let's get into this. So low self-esteem is something that I think a lot of people have, but maybe they are afraid to talk about it. Maybe they're afraid to just let it be known. And you can really see it through people's Facebook posts, through how they are interacting online. Everybody's out there reaching, looking for some sort of support to help boost their confidence so that it can help them get to the next day, or whatever it is that they're trying to boost their confidence with. But one of the main things that people don't realize is how your physical health is connected to your self esteem. And so when you start to exercise, you start to release the endorphins, the dopamine receptors in your brain. They start going crazy, and you start getting that dopamine response, which is the feel good chemical of your brain. And so when you have that dopamine response after a workout, a good workout, even just a simple workout, just breaking a sweat, you start to feel better. You start to, maybe you're nicer to people around you. Maybe you go to the grocery store and, you're not bad at the person who's just cut you off and almost hit you with their grocery cart. It's things like that where you start to see, oh wait, my mood isn't so crazy. And then over time, you start to develop this, self-efficacy, this boost where it's like, you know what? I'm not exercising to lose weight. I'm not exercising to impress anybody. What I'm doing is I'm exercising to impress myself so that I can be a better person for your family. So you could be a better person for whatever your job is that you're doing at hand. And you just want to have more energy and just be able to be just more aware of, the things that you're doing. And if you have more self-esteem, you're going to be able to do that, and a lot of times it's the negative self-talk that we get into, is that we try to talk ourselves out of doing something. We know we got to exercise, we know we have to eat, we want to eat healthier, but then we don't do it, and then we just kind of fall in this rut where it's like, that's not me, that's not who I am. But we need to start bringing some realization to ourselves where if we start to incorporate some sort of positive self-talk where we can, I do have this. Yeah, I can do this, and start actually making verbs rather than just nouns. And that's the best way to really think about it, is your action words are what's going to actually bring you to reach your goals. If you want to keep saying, I can't do this, why don't you talk about, I can do this, or I want to do this, or I will do this, or, this is something that I am going to do right now, or what is it that you can do right now? And so a lot of times I think people, when they want to get into, a new exercise program, or just starting to eat healthier, or just eating better, or just overall wellness, we always beat ourselves up because we always look at the end road rather than the steps that it takes to get to the end of the road. And that's where our focus should really lie, is mustering up the confidence to get to the gym. That's something that is, everything. If you could just take that steps to get there, that's where the real positive self-image, that's where the real self-esteem starts coming through, because you're taking the steps, you're getting rewarded on your effort for going, rather than just the end result of, strength or weight loss or whatever it is. You want to just kind of still develop that positive self-talk where every time that you're doing something that is hard, something that is difficult, something that you don't want to do, just remind yourself of why you want to do it, and, start to develop a positive self-image, and make that your persona, so now that's who you are. You're not the person who's going to you're the person who's going to overcome these challenges. You're not the person who's going to be, reactive to anything that comes up there, because you're taking the proactive steps, knowing that you can do these different things. And that's where exercise really comes in, is that's what helps you boost your confidence is that you go to the gym, you start with maybe 5 pounds of chest press. By the next week, you're up to 10 pounds. And then from the next week after that, maybe you're up to 15, 20. And you're building self confidence because you're getting stronger. You're doing something for yourself. And that is where the benefits really start to come. And I think once you could realize that I feel like that's where the benefits are really going to start to transpire is really look at what you're doing. How are you eating? Start to develop a positive self image and be able to exercise for yourself, not for anybody else. And once you're able to do that, you find out that you're in control of everything and you're able to be a better person. You're able to be a better husband, wife, brother, sister, whatever it may be. And from there, it's your life is now changing. And I think that's where it's kind of where we want to be is in that positive mindset where your health is everything. And from there, you are now a better person from that. So let's keep it moving. And so we'll just, kind of elaborate a little bit more on that is, dealing with your mood swings is, once you're in a position where you're not eating right, you're not exercising, you're more sedentary, you're letting the world kind of go around you, you wake up one day and people just piss you off. You're stuck in traffic, you're trying to go through the tunnels, people are cutting you off, you're pissed off, and a lot of times this can be just changed by doing something strenuous, physically and sometimes mentally too. But so you don't want to necessarily be mentally draining. But we really, this for this slide and this particular talk, we're really just talking about how diet and sleep really affect your mood. And so a lot of times what people don't realize is whenever you're eating poor, you have, you know, poor digestion, you have poor energy. And it's again kind of going back to the first thing that we talked about was you are pretty much what you eat. So if you're eating shit, you're going to be feeling like shit. Now, if you're eating well, you're going to be feeling better. It's kind of simple. But what people don't realize is how sleep affects your mood. So when you sleep, your body is always going to go through its REM stage, right? Even when you're awake. And so when you go to bed and you have 3 to 4 hours of sleep, your body does not know how to necessarily regulate the hormones to bring yourself back to a homeostatic state. And that's just a normal state. And so what ends up happening is leptin and ghrelin end up being released at different stages. And leptin is what tells your body that you're full, and ghrelin is what tells your body that you're hungry. So whenever your sleep is out of whack, your leptin and ghrelin levels, they're out of whack, so that when you wake up, you might be starving and you have to hurry up and go eat something rather than, staying kind of full and then being able to proceed throughout the day with a little bit of energy before maybe an hour or two before you get your coffee or breakfast or something of that nature. But if you're lacking sleep, your body, and you wake up 3 to 4 hours later, your body is always going to go into a dreamlike state. So if you ever find yourself in a way where you're kind of, maybe there's some days where you're just dazing off and you don't necessarily know why, or your brain is just kind of foggy and you're thinking of other things. A lot of that is because your brain is still going through its dream cycle while you're awake. And so when you're doing that, you really don't have the best thought processes. You don't really have the best mood. And so one of the main things that you can do is just start to improve your sleep 6 hours, 7 hours, start with a reasonable goal and be able to proceed from there. You don't want to say, all right, I need to get 8 hours of sleep when your regular sleep schedule is four, maybe say 4.5, 5 hours, and then proceed to make an actual change about it. But you have to realize that that's an issue before you can even change it, because if you don't realize it's an issue, you're not going to want to make any rules to change it. So And that kind of just brings up the old thing too with exercise, right? Is that when you exercise, you're burning off steam, right? That's that old saying is, "Hey, I exercise, you're burning steam." Well, you're boosting your mood by doing that because you have the endorphins, you have the dopamine receptors, you have all of these things that are going off that is going to help you deal with your mood because you're not thinking of anything else when you're in the gym or when you're exercising. You're thinking about lifting that weight, going so you don't have a heart attack, trying to breathe. And so these are why, diet, sleep, exercise, these tools are very effective when you're trying to improve your mood because that is the main thing. That's going to be the main thing that you're going to need to do whenever you're, feeling like crap. The best thing to do is go work out. Go eat something somewhat healthy. Maybe even eat something that's, not as healthy. See how you feel. Is it going to help you out? Is it going to put you in a worser position? Because then now you're going to be in this process of, oh, I need to eat healthier and then I'm eating this. What is it for you personally that you find that changes your mood? So it's subjective to everybody, and everybody has a different trigger, so to speak. But some of the main things is you could check your diet, check your sleep. Are you even exercising? And then are you doing any mindfulness practices? Are you focusing on any type of breath work? You doing deep breaths, 5 seconds in with a hold and then an exhale out. If you do, are you doing any ujjayi breathing where you're breathing in through the nose, exhaling out, inhaling through the nose, exhaling out? Are you doing, there's ways that you could foster ways to benefit your mood as long as you're really focusing on it. And you have to understand that there is an issue and then be able to find the necessary tools and solutions that are going to help you necessarily get there. And so it's what brings us on to our, the next slide is the tired of yo-yo dieting. So maybe you don't know what this means, yo-yo dieting. So it's just kind of like whenever you put the yo-yo down, you bring it down, it goes all the way down and it goes back up. It goes all the way down, it goes back up. And so technically what that means is you go on one diet, you lose weight, you fall off, you come back on. And so this is something that I see often that I would rather not. But one of the things that, it's just life. We find out that there's this new exercise program or there's this new weight loss program. And it's making, it's doing all these magical benefits for people. And so people see their progress, and then they jump on it. And then they realize they don't know the whole mechanism behind it all. And then they lose a whole bunch of weight real quick. And then they gain it right back. And then they go, well, what the hell? That didn't work for me. And that's the process of, unfortunately, the billion-dollar industry that the fitness industry is the fact that there are so many different diets that are going to necessarily work for you. And what they don't tell you is that every diet is going to work for you. It's just one that you can sustain over a period of time. Now, if you go keto, you're going to lose weight. You see people losing weight all the time, but they don't tell you the real mechanism of why you're losing keto is because you cut out all the processed foods. You're not eating the junk anymore because the keto diet doesn't allow you. So you are eating fresher, whole foods. When you think of Atkins and Mediterranean diet, what are you doing? You're eating whole foods, you're eating whole vegetables, you're not eating processed foods. When you think of, any diet, the main goal is to restrict some sort of calories from your diet and restrict some calories from your exercise or your activity, and therefore you're in some sort of calorie deficit that is going to help you lose some weight. The problem with this is that a lot of times people just forget how much food they're even eating, or they just don't know what they should be eating. So they get onto these diets, they go ahead, they run their course, they feel great, and then they jump back into their normal way of eating. And now their gaining all this weight because they didn't actually make it a behavior change. They just did it because it's a 30-day thing, a 60-day thing, a 90-day thing, rather than installing the behavior changes that you actually need to do to sustain and maintain all the progress that you just worked your ass off for. And so, one of the ways that you see all the time is not having a focus on balanced nutrition and mindful eating. A lot of times when people get into a diet, they want to just go 120%. And I actually think that that's the wrong way to do it because you're going to find yourself burnt out. The main thing whenever you're switching, and I mean, I want to just take out the word diet in general, is that it's a lifestyle change, right? So when you think about eating healthier, you think about getting into, a wellness program or anything of that nature, it's starting again, it's very small. What's the smallest thing that you can change? If you find that, you need to lose 25 pounds, okay, you need to lose 25 pounds. Let's start with 1 pound per week and let's go from there. Now, what are we going to do? What do we have to do to make you lose that 1 pound? All right, well, we need to know how many calories you need to maintain your basal metabolic rate. Once we find that, we find out, all right, so now what your activity level is sedentary, for instance. All right, so that we know that you're not really going to be burning too many calories from exercise. We're going to have to be in a bigger deficit. Okay. And then now we just start to proceed from there. All right, so what are you drinking? All right, you drink 2 Pepsis a day. All right, so maybe we cut down to 1 Pepsi a day and see how that transpires. And then maybe we don't do any Pepsi anymore. We switch to diet Pepsi. And then all right, so how's your coffee creamer? Okay, so you use full fat coffee creamer, French vanilla, tastes great, but it's also 180 calories per coffee. Okay, so you drink 2 coffees a day, 180 calories. So there's 360. All right, so we need to make some changes, right? So you could see how it's the little things that you could do, now that is going to be able to make a long-term solution over the course of a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 6 years, however long you want to do it. But it's finding the right habits. It's not going straight to the cake. It's not going straight to Five Guys. It's not going straight to these different places. It's just focusing on, you know, did I work out today? Did I burn some extra calories? Okay, so, I can have this, 1,000 calorie meal. That's not going to be the greatest for me, but at least I'm burning it off and I'm doing the necessary things to, you know, watch my health. And then the next day you proceed and you keep going. That's a healthy, balanced nutrition and mindfulness, really, is that you're not restricting yourself to the point where you're not having fun, because this is essentially what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be something that is going to improve your life. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be engaging. It's supposed to suck at the same time, but it teaches you something about yourself. It teaches you about resilience. It teaches you about just overall life, and that you can tackle a goal and be able to accomplish that goal and be able to feel better about it over the course of time, because you set your mind to do something and then you did it, and then next thing you know, you got the results that you wanted from it. And a lot of times that is just by focusing on a balanced way of eating, working out, and just overall, lifestyle and mental health, to be frank. Um, and so it just kind of goes into one of the last things I wanted to talk about, is having your healthy relationship with food, right? So a lot of times what I see is that people will get into a position where they think that they have to eat a lot of food, or if they eat a lot of food, they have to restrict a lot of food the next day and then the day after that they don't eat at all. They feel the shame, and then the next day we go back to binging. And so what I call this, and what it's really called, is the binge restrict shame cycle of eating. And so what this basically is what I just said. You binge out for one day, you restrict a whole bunch of calories, maybe that day or the next day, and then you realize that you're starving, and then you feel shame about it, and then you start to do the whole cycle all over again. And where this becomes, pretty harmful is that you never sustain a proper eating habit. So you never focus on why these things are working for you in the first place, because you're just going into a point of where it's not going to necessarily work for you because you're always going through these cycles. And so once you find a happy balance about what you're eating, you find a happy balance about what's going on, you don't have to get yourself into the whole binge restrict shame cycle. Because say you do have a day of eating like, not the best, you just pick yourself up the next day and just continue about, your next foot forward, keep yourself on the path, keep yourself on the program, keep yourself on whatever it is that you're doing, rather than sit there saying, all right, I just had this binging issue. I gotta restrict all these calories because I'm gonna gain all this weight. That's not the way. It's not the way to do it. It's not a sustainable method, and it's not going to be something that's going to be beneficial for you in the long run. So if you just find ways to necessarily, tackle these goals, or if you start to see them come up for you, you got to figure out ways that you're going to be able to not necessarily fall down these paths. And a lot of that could be from just having the availability of your food already there. So going shopping, already having the healthier food as the option in your fridge, so that if you do get into this point of binging out, at least it's something more calorie dense. And then, if you get into the point where you feel like you need to restrict some food, maybe you do a intermittent fast for a day where you do a 12-hour fast where you're only eating in a 12-hour window, or maybe you do a 16-8 where you're fasting for 16 hours and only eating in an 8-hour window, and seeing if that helps build your metabolism better than it was before. But the fact is that you don't want to feel the shame aspect of it all, because that's never going to get you the motivation and the internal self realization to go back on that we talked about, building that self esteem. You're never going to have the self esteem. You're going to consider yourself as a failure. You're going to consider yourself, you can't get anything done. And that's not the energy that we want to manifest in when we're doing something that's going to improve your health. We all know that there's going to be setbacks. I'm a trainer, I'm a chef, I like to eat, and maybe it's not the best, but the thing is how you pick yourself up the next day. If you know that you're having a struggle with whatever it is in life, food, diet, life, you just got to pick yourself up the next day and try to improve that 1%. Because once you improve that 1% over the course of 30 days, 50 days, 60 days, you're getting 50% better. You're getting just better at the overall thing that you want to do in life. And I think that that's one of the important things to to take home with all this, because I'm just talking about these subjects. But I think the main thing that you have to think about is starting small, starting easy, taking a look at what it is that you are necessarily eating, what are you are how are you exercising, what types of pain are you in, and what are you doing to conquer these pain points. Are you being more reactive rather than proactive? Are you just dwelling about change when you know that there needs to be a change? Are you stuck in that contemplation stage where you don't know where to start and you need a boost? There's so many different things that people can be at, especially on the road of getting to healthier eating, whether it's exercising more, whether it's watching what you eat, whether, there's so many things that people want to just do all at once. And I think that's where you find out, or where I see is you see the most attrition rates, is that you try to take on too much and then you realize that that ain't going to work. And then you fall off and then you realize, well, this wasn't for me. That plan sucked. Whereas reality, you just got to take it literally one step at a time. What is that one thing that you need to change? And everybody usually knows what that one thing is, whether or not they want to admit it or not. Deep inside what that one thing you need to change is. And that could just be getting up and taking a walk. And it could be just, drinking more water. It could be cutting down the pop. It could be stop putting, a gallon of coffee creamer in your coffee to make it a milkshake rather than a coffee, So it's those little things that if you could start from there, conquer those goals out, feel happy, feel a sense of encouragement because you set your mind to do something and then now you completed it and then you cross that off the list and then you be able to just tackle on the next step. What's the next problem in life that you need to accomplish? And then be able to just stack these up over time. This is what's going to give you a new, not necessarily an outlook on life, but it's going to help your behaviors and it's going to help foster some healthier behaviors around you. And I think that that's one of the most important things that people need to understand, is that you got to start small. You don't necessarily start with everything at once, and from there you could break it down into small little tasks that are going to help you necessarily be a better person, be a better individual, and just be a healthier lifestyle. Because when it comes down to it, we only got one life, so that I think of, and we got to try to make the best of it, and there's no reason to sit there and dwell about all the things that we need to do beforehand. Why don't we just focus on the one thing that you could do today or tomorrow? What is that one thing? It doesn't necessarily have to be, everything that I just talked about today. It could be just making that simple step of just focusing on that there's an issue that you need to change. And I think if you realize it, you can kind of make it into fruition. You can kind of manifest it into place. And so, just really taking a hard look at yourself and staring yourself at the mirror and say, what is it that I can change? What is that one thing that I can do today, tomorrow, that is going to help me become a better person to the people around me? It's going to help be a better person for myself. And, it's going to be able to allow you to unlock maybe doors that were left unopened because you didn't think you can do that. And so that's necessarily what, holistic health, I guess, technically is that you're focusing on, through me personally, is that I'm focusing on your health, your body, and your mindset. And so if we can fine tune those three things, that's just going to foster you into a better person over time. And I think that's important, as this hectic everyday life, is that, we don't, a lot of times we think that we have so much to do and we don't necessarily do it. And at least if you can focus on your health, you can focus on watching what you eat, you're doing the necessarily things that can help you as an individual and help you as a person. So yeah, I could talk about this all day long. I kind of got off topic here, but yeah, tired of yo-yo dieting. Don't follow through the yo-yo diets. Find something that's going to be sustainable. Find something that is, in your realm of what foods do you like. If you find that you don't like chicken and fish, don't follow a program that has chicken and fish and chicken and rice. Find something that is in your macronutrients, in your levels, and just reach those macro goals. If you have to eat 1800 calories, eat 1800 calories. And then if it's, you find out that you're eating more carbs than you are protein, well, then start increasing your protein count. And I think that's one of the main things. I should made a slide on here, is that's your main goal. Increase protein. If anything else, if there's one thing that you can get out of all of this, is that increase your protein intake. And this is something that when I'm working with, people who are professional athletes, people who are just weekend warriors, people who have health issues, is that most of them don't reach their protein goals. And protein is your repair molecule. If you're breaking down muscles to get stronger, you need to rebuild it with some sort of protein and amino acids. That's what's going to get you your energy. And I think that's what a lot of times people, they don't realize, is that that's going to keep you fuller longer, and it's going to give you energy. And that's something for me. I started drinking more protein shakes in the morning rather than a coffee, just to kind of outweigh how's my energy feel. And you find out that with the protein, you're actually getting more natural energy rather than more of a drug, as in caffeine, that to give you that extra boost. So it's one of those things that, yeah, if there's one thing you can really focus on, it's increase your protein intake, and really start to go from there and see, where else do you need to change. Is it drinking the water? Is it not drinking the pop? But yeah, could sit here and ramble on about this stuff all day long. And how long have I even been on here? I've been rambling on for 40 minutes. All right, so 40 minutes I've been rambling on. What's our next slide? Yeah, my Fat Blaster program. So with all that stuff that we just talked about, a lot of my clients, what we like to do, with on my fitness app, is be able to have tailor workouts, video demonstrations for them, and a progress tracker for people to see, their stats in real time. And a lot of the things that the app includes, and not only just my program, but um, it's coaching, it's support, it's having guidance, it's having somebody like myself just being there for you, wishing and hoping for your success, and being there and giving you actual tools to help you in your journey for success. And so this is something that I offer in my virtual programming. And so you could always drop a line, you could email me, comment to me, if you want some more information about this. But I've been seeing some really good results from a lot of my clients. I mean, some of my clients have lost 15 pounds of fat mass, 20 pounds in overall just weight, gaining strength, finding a new version of themselves that they didn't even know existed, and being able to, conquer the world. And I think that's always a great for me, because my success is based upon your success. But seeing people transpire and transform, and just getting out of pain, I think that's one of the best things for me. That's what makes me go to sleep and wake up happy. But it's one of those things that if you're ever struggling, you ever need a help, you ever need a hand, reach out. I'm here for you. It's wherever you're at in life, let's figure it out, and let's find where your issues are, and maybe we can start to get you a little bit better. A little shameless plug of my 90-day Fat Blaster program. And if you remember PHAT, that's the old 90s, fat. But this is actually meant for peripheral heart action training. So kind of a spin on words there. But yeah, that's the little program. If you're interested in that, you can always reach out to me, and yeah, we can kind of get it in, and start to really make a plan for yourself, and start to focus on your health. But yeah, I thank you for everybody who is on the live stream today, and who's able to watch it and picked up and maybe even said anything. I appreciate that. This is the first live stream I have done, so I have no idea how this is going. But yeah, always going to work on it, and just feel free if you have any questions, write them down, text them to me, put them in the comments. And from there, I'll see you on the next video, on the next live stream. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Have a good one.